I am going to explain how to derive length contraction and time dilation formulas in special theory of relativity from Lorentz transformation. Then we will solve some problems on length contraction and time dilation. Consider two inertial frames S and S prime. S prime is moving along x-axis with velocity v relative to frame S. X and x prime axes coincide, y and y prime axes are parallel, z and z prime axes are parallel. When the origins of the frames coincide, then set their clock readings to 0. The rod is kept along x or x prime axis. The rod is at rest relative to frame S prime. Its length is L as measured by S and L prime as measured by S prime. The position of left end of the rod is measured by frame S as x1 at time t1 and by x prime as x1 prime at time t1 prime. The position of right end of the rod is measured by frame S as x2 at time t2 and by frame S prime as x2 prime at time t2 prime. I use Lorentz transformation to express x prime in terms of x and t. So we can write Lorentz transformation for x1 prime and x2 prime. Then we take the difference and we find x2 prime minus x1 prime in terms of x2, x1, t2 and t1. When the rod is at rest, then we can measure the coordinates of its endpoints simultaneously or at two different times. In both cases, we can find the length of the rod from the coordinates of its endpoints. Since the rod is at rest in frame S prime, therefore x2 prime minus x1 prime equals L prime, which is the length of the rod measured by frame S prime. But when the rod is moving, we must measure coordinates of its endpoints simultaneously if we want to find the length of the rod. The rod is moving in frame S, therefore x2 minus x1 equals L, the length of the rod measured by frame S only if t1 and t2 are equal. So we substitute x2 prime minus x1 prime equals L prime, x2 minus x1 equals L, and t2 equals t1, that is t2 minus t1 equals 0. We get this equation between L prime and L. We simplify the equation. We get L prime equals L divided by square root of 1 minus v square by c square, or L equals L prime multiplied by square root of 1 minus v square by c square. Suppose that the rest length, also called proper length, of the rod is L naught. We know that the rod is at rest in frame S prime. Therefore, L prime equals L naught. So we can write L equals L naught multiplied by square root of 1 minus v square by c square. This is the length contraction formula. Explain the meaning of length contraction. Length contraction says that the length of a moving rod is less than its rest length. Here rest length is also called proper length. However, the word proper may be misleading because some students may think that only the observer for whom the rod is at rest will make correct measurements and the other observers are wrong. But in reality, all observers are correct. Length contraction is not because of any compressive force in the rod. Do not think that certain kind of compression develops in the rod and the length gets contracted. Instead, the same rod can have different lengths according to different observers. Suppose that you keep a rod on a table. You are standing next to the table. For you, the rod is 1 meter long. Another observer is moving at 50% of the speed of light parallel to the length of the rod. And a third observer is moving at 80% of the speed of light parallel to the length of the rod. All the three observers will measure different lengths of the rod and all the three are correct. Length contraction is along or parallel to the direction of motion relative to the frame of reference. There is no contraction perpendicular to the direction of motion. It is important to note that length contraction is not about size of the rod's image that forms on our retina. Instead, the length of a rod really depends on the frame of reference. Contraction formula applies on distance between two objects even if the objects are not connected by a rod. Here, The distance measured by an observer for whom the objects are at rest is proper distance, just like proper length or rest length. Then we can use the length contraction formula to find the distance between the objects relative to another inertial frame of reference. Now I am going to explain how to derive time dilation formula from Lorentz transformation. Consider same two inertial frames S and S prime. Consider two events, event 1 and event 2. Event 1 occurs at position x1, y1, z1 at time t1 as measured by frame S, and at x1 prime, y1 prime, z1 prime at time t1 prime as measured by frame S prime. Event 2 occurs at x2, y2, z2 at time t2 as measured by frame S, and x2 prime, y2 prime, z2 prime at time t2 prime as measured by frame S prime. This transformation to express t in terms of t prime and x prime. So we can express t1 in terms of t1 prime and x1 prime, and we can express t2 in terms of t2 prime and x2 prime. We take the difference, then we get t2 minus t1 in terms of t2 prime minus t1 prime and x2 prime minus x1 prime. T2 minus T1 is delta T, T2 prime minus T1 prime is delta T prime, x2 prime minus x1 prime is delta x prime, where delta T is the time interval between the two events as measured in frame S, delta T prime is the time interval between the events as measured by frame S prime, and delta x prime is the difference in x coordinates of the two events as measured by frame S prime. The two events occur at the same x coordinate, or you can say x prime coordinate as measured by frame S prime. Then delta x prime is 0. Let us call delta t prime as delta t naught. Then we get delta t equals delta t naught divided by square root of 1 minus v square by c square. This is the time dilation formula. Here delta t naught is the time interval between two events which have the same coordinate along the direction of relative motion between the frames. We have assumed that the relative motion between the frames is along x-axis. Now I am going to explain the meaning of time dilation. In the time dilation formula, delta t naught is the time interval between two events measured from a frame of reference in which the events occur at the same location or at the same coordinate along relative motion between the frames. So if the relative motion between the frames is along x-axis, then delta t naught is the time interval between events according to the frame in which the events have the same x coordinate, and delta t is the time interval between the same two events from the other inertial frame of reference. As the time dilation formula shows, delta t is greater than delta t naught. So it means that if two events happen at the same location as seen from inertial frame S prime and different locations as seen from inertial frame S, then the time interval between the events will be larger as seen from frame S. This rule is true even if the two events have the same x coordinate in the first frame, that is frame S prime, and different x coordinate in the second frame, that is frame S, where the relative motion between the frames is along x-axis. Moving clocks run slow. This is a consequence of time dilation. Slower clock means that the clock shows less time interval between a given set of two events. Suppose that an observer sees a clock moving from one location A to another location B. For the observer, the time taken by the clock is delta t. But for the clock itself, both A and B are the same point. So the corresponding time taken according to the clock itself is delta t naught. We know from time dilation formula that delta t naught is less than delta t. So the observer will say that the clock is ticking slower than the observer's own clocks, that is the clocks which are at rest relative to the observer. The concept of time dilation can be visualized easily with a light clock. In a light clock, there are two mirrors separated by a distance, say h. A light pulse moves from one mirror to the other and then back to the first mirror. Suppose that the time taken by the light clock to cover a distance 2h is called as 1 unit of time. S and S prime are two inertial frames. S prime is moving to the right relative to frame S. The clock is at rest in frame S prime. For S prime, the distance covered by the light pulse in moving from mirror A to mirror B and back to mirror A is 2h. So the time taken is 1 unit. But as seen from frame S, as the light pulse is moving between the mirrors, the entire clock is moving to the right. So the distance covered by the light pulse is greater than 2h, and therefore the time taken is more than 1 unit. But S prime frame says that the time taken is only 1 unit. So the S prime observer will say that the clock is slow. In fact, the time dilation formula can be derived by considering a light clock. Suppose that frame S prime is moving at velocity v relative to frame S. For S prime, the time taken by a light pulse in moving from one mirror to the other is delta t naught, and for S, the corresponding time taken is delta t. As seen from frame S, as the light pulse moves from one mirror to the other, the frame S prime, and together with that, the clock has moved by a distance of v into delta t. In frame S prime, the distance moved by the light pulse in going from mirror A to mirror B is h, and in frame S, the corresponding distance covered by the light pulse is square root of whole of h squared plus square of v delta t by using Pythagoras theorem. Distance equals speed into time. Therefore, for frame S prime, h equals c into delta t naught. Let us call this equation 1. For frame S, square root of whole of h squared plus square of v delta t equals c into delta t. When we square both sides, we get h squared plus square of v delta t equals c squared into delta t squared, or h squared equals product of c squared minus v squared and delta t squared, or delta t squared equals h squared divided by whole of c squared minus v squared. We substitute the expression for h from equation 1. We simplify further and then we take square root on both sides. As you can see, we get the time dilation formula. Let us go through some problems based on length contraction and time dilation. I found these problems by searching internet, but the solutions are mine. The first problem is, at what speed does a clock move if it runs at a rate which is 1/2 the rate of a clock at rest? You can see that we require time dilation formula. In the time dilation formula, delta t naught is smaller than delta t if v is not 0. And from the problem, we find delta t naught is half of delta t, or delta t equals 2 times delta t naught. We substitute that, and from that we find that square root of 1 minus v square by c square is half. We square both sides, we get 1 minus v square by c square is 1 by 4, or v square by c square is 3 by 4. From this we get v by c equals square root of 3 divided by 2, or v equals 0.866 c. So the clock needs to move at a speed of 0.866 times the speed of light. If you want, you can substitute the value of c. Next problem is, at what speed does a meter stick move if its length is observed to shrink to 60 cm? We use length contraction formula L equals L naught multiplied by square root of 1 minus v square by c square to solve this problem. It is given that the rest length L naught is 1 meter and the observed length L is 60 centimeter, that is 0.6 meter. We substitute these values, we get 0.6 equals 1 multiplied by square root of 1 minus v square by c square. We take square on both sides and get 0.36 equals 1 minus v square by c square, or v square by c square equals 1 minus 0.36, that is 0.64. Then we take square root on both sides and we get v by c equals square root of 0.64 or 0.8. Therefore, v equals 0.8 c. So the meter stick is moving at a speed of 0.8 times the speed of light. The third problem is, the lifetime of a pi meson in its own frame of reference is 26 nanoseconds. If a pi meson moves at 0.95 c relative to the Earth, what is its lifetime as measured by an observer on Earth? And what is the distance it travels before decaying as measured by that observer? Here 26 nanoseconds is the lifetime of the pi meson in its own frame of reference. So it is proper time interval delta t naught. The speed v is 0.95 c. We have to calculate the lifetime of pi meson as measured by an observer on Earth. This means we have to find delta t. We use time dilation formula. We substitute the values of delta t naught and v. We find that delta t equals 83.3 nanoseconds. So the lifetime of pi meson in Earth's frame of reference is 83.3 nanoseconds. We also have to find the distance the pi meson travels before decaying. Distance equals speed into time. Speed is 0.95 c, that is 0.95 into 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. The time taken is 83.3 nanoseconds, that is 83.3 into 10 to the power minus 9 second. We find that the distance is 23.7 meter. So the distance travelled by the pi meson in Earth's frame of reference is 23.7 meter. Problem number 4. A rod of length L naught moves with speed v along x-axis. The rod makes an angle theta naught with respect to the x-axis. Part A. Determine the length of the rod as measured by a stationary observer. Part B. Determine the angle theta the rod makes with the x-axis. Part A. Suppose that the rod is in xy plane. Delta x naught and delta y naught are projections of the rod's proper length on x-axis and y-axis. Similarly, delta x and delta y are projections of the rod's length in the observer's frame of reference. Delta x naught equals L naught cos theta naught and delta y naught equals L naught sin theta naught. The rod is moving along x-axis. So we find the expression for delta x using length contraction formula. Since there is no motion along y-axis, therefore delta y equals delta y naught. We find the expression for delta x square plus delta y square. Delta x square plus delta y square is equal to L square, and delta x naught square plus delta y naught square is equal to L naught square, and delta x naught equals L naught cos theta naught. We substitute these and find the expression for L. Part B. tan theta equals delta y by delta x, delta y equals delta y naught, and we have found delta x using length contraction formula. We put delta y naught divided by delta x naught as tan theta naught, then we get tan theta equals tan theta naught divided by square root of whole of 1 minus v square by c square. Problem number 5. A stick with proper length 1 meter is moving at a speed of 0.8 c along its length relative to an observer. How much time does the stick take to cross a point as measured by that observer? L naught is 1 meter, speed v is 0.8 c. The distance covered by the rod is equal to the length L in the observer's frame of reference. We calculate length L using length contraction formula. We find L equals 0.6 meter. The time taken by the rod is distance divided by speed, or L divided by V. We substitute L is equal to 0.6 meter and V is equal to 0.8 c, that is 0.8 into 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. We get the time taken is 2.5 into 10 to the minus 9 second, or 2.5 nanoseconds.